Hello, everyone. I'm Whitney Ortiz, the founder of Whole Health Self-Care and host of the Whole Health series. I am so happy to be here with Jennifer Chu. Jen is a board-certified women's health specialist. In 2001, she opened ITR Physical Therapy in Washington, D.C. It offers patients a real supportive environment through which they can receive individualized and high-quality physical therapy that's focused on pelvic health. The holistic approach that Jen takes in her physical therapy work comes from her own health journey and has led her to become a mind-body health coach. Her new online business, called Holistic Pelvic Health Specialists, combines her expertise in pelvic health physical therapy with the mind-body coaching she offers. And Jen is really committed to teaching and empowering all women and others who come to her in how to heal themselves. Jen, thank you for sharing with us some of your wisdom and the transferable takeaways that you have from your expertise and your experience.
Well, thank you. I'm so excited to be here and to connect with you again. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And to really start us off here, let's go deep. Let's go deep into your experiences and how they've informed the work that you're doing today. Like your physical therapy and coaching work both relate to the mind-body connection. Can you please unpack that and explain why you took this approach and why this approach has proven to be very helpful for the clients that you see?
Sure. I have to say that it's been a journey. I think for many of us, most of us, that's what life is. So I didn't necessarily intend that. Pelvic women's health physical therapy found me when I was in grad school. It just was, I didn't even know it existed, but it was meant to be. And as I went on and started working with more and more women who had a lot of chronic issues, I was constantly searching for ways to help people more and more and more. And I've always been drawn to, say, treatment techniques with the philosophy of listening to the body. So I did initially a lot of manual hands-on osteopathic techniques where I use my hands and feel that. And all of that could be quite magical when it was the right tool. But over the years, what I found was oftentimes that would be very helpful, but it didn't really quite feel like enough. And eventually I went through my own difficult times, and my own health wasn't so fabulous and healthy in many ways. And I ended up being connected with a therapist who did mind-body work. And I had heard about people being disconnected and not being aware of their body, but kind of thought, oh, that was, my patients, not me. Oh, here's life putting a beautiful mirror up to me. I was probably more disconnected than anybody else from a lot of stuff, how it was taught in culture. I was taught in my family, from childhood trauma, life trauma, and things like that. And as this therapist magically guided me to getting more connected with my body, I began to heal in so many ways. And it helped my physical health. It helped my digestion. It helped my immune system. It helped my chronic fatigue. It helped so many things. It helped my relationships and me to just be a healthier person. And so I just was pulled onto this path where I felt like, wow, what a beautiful place I could be in, to pull in some of the physical knowledge that I have, whether it be physical therapy, manual therapy, nutrition, but to pull in what now felt like a whole new level to help people heal at a truly beautiful way that we pull together the mind, body, and the spirit. And what I realized is I needed to follow that path into coaching. And I feel like it's just been this beautiful way to offer people tools where they can go in, tap into their own body's wisdom, combine it with their mind, pull in the power of spirit if that's their place, and guide themselves as to what they need. And that has been more powerful in healing than I could ever have imagined.
I love your focus and completely agree with your messages. And that's one of the reasons how we connected and are collaborating in regards to women's whole health, wellness, and well-being. Can you please talk about that, the importance of collaboration, how the kinds of collaborations that you have found to really matter these days, especially for women leaders?
Yeah, I feel like, if we take a look back on women's journey, especially as entrepreneurs, like my belief is that, and I came into this and was taught that I had to have this philosophy of really hard work. Like I was taught that I could make things happen, but that I was going to have to move mountains and work myself to the core, to the bone to make it happen. Kind of that pushing mentality, and certainly the perfectionistic mentality. With a ton of pressure, internal, probably more internal, but it was definitely, that's how I was taught. And so, I've had my physical therapy practice for over 2 decades now, which is kind of mind blowing. And I worked myself to the bone. I mean, to the point where I was sick numerous times, and I would do just enough for my own health to get me back on track where I could keep my small practice running. But I just followed that mentality where I was exhausting myself. I was working 60, 70 hours a week and getting 5 hours of sleep, and, really riding this wave of getting sick, but knowing just enough healthcare providers to help me until I got in this mind body world and was taught by, some of my mentors and my coaches, oh no, we need to listen to ourselves and rest. And what I found in my allowing myself to rest is I have certain strengths. I have certain weaknesses, if you will, if I want to look at them that way. And if I open myself up, instead of me having to do everything, to being open to collaborating with different people who may have different strengths, who, can help people in a way that maybe I can't, it can be a beautiful thing. So over time, I began to pull other people into my practice who didn't do it the way I did it. They did it their way, and their way was better for them, and their way was better for certain patients. And over time, I opened myself up to bringing on, say virtual assistants and, who have a knack of really connecting with patients with that first phone call. When I was kind of looking for this, but that was their strength. And they realized, oh, she shines there. When I let people shine with their strengths where they are, and that helps us, and we can help more people this way. And then I can open myself up to the possibility of bringing someone else in with a different strength. So when we allow each person to be who they are and shine with their talents and their passions, it becomes, to me, it's become my business is now thankfully growing and booming, where we have different practitioners and different support administrative staff that help so many more people in so many different ways. And it's just been really, it's more of a collaborative team experience. And on top of that, we've connected Whitney, and I've put together something called a Women's Health Wellness Day for a few years, which you briefly mentioned, where, I connected people. My intention was to connect women with all these amazing different healthcare providers that have these passions and strengths, doctors, naturopaths, yoga practitioners, and different people, and help us all to gain that ability to connect and to learn, and for providers to educate and help, and people to see that these services and people exist. So it's been pretty amazing to understand that connection and collaboration can be really helpful. And it's taken a lot of stress off of me in my practice, because I don't have to do everything. I now hire a bookkeeper, right? I don't love numbers. That's not my strength. I love connecting with people and teaching and things like that. So we don't have to do, it's good to understand the different aspects of our business. But when I let go of that piece of control and understood that different people had different strengths, it allowed me to focus on different things, and so I can help more people, I hope.
And it led to this complete flourishing and expansion. And you bring in the point of resourcing. It's like resourcing from within and then resourcing from without, and allowing to combine that, as some refer to it, like the masculine energy with the feminine energy, and how that has just led to such like deeper awareness and more expansive growth for your business and as a whole person yourself, and in the allowing for the others within your spaces to shine, which is a beautiful message.
Yeah, and you highlighted so many things in which I was trying to tap on, but you pulled it together in such a beautiful manner. We need to resource within ourselves. I needed to rest for a good 6 months to a year before I could even truly tap in and listen to what the needs were of myself first, and then my business. And now my intention of reaching and helping, everyone or as many people as possible is becoming more and more fruitful in that, we're just helping more and more people. And that's where my second business idea came up with. I wanted a way to reach people who maybe couldn't afford our services, but I know that the hands-on therapy is really important for many people. But if we could do this online in a way that people can afford, we could help so many more people. And so it's allowed me to do that, or start it anyway.
Yeah, that is awesome. And you bring through here so many points that are relevant for entrepreneurs as well as practitioners, physicians, thought leader, things about really the connection into ourselves, the resourcing from ourselves, the connecting and resourcing from without, the allowing, the inspired action. And where many of our listeners here are high impact women leaders who play multiple roles, and are wanting to operate at high capacity throughout their lives to show up as they truly want to. And thus I was contemplating here as you were talking about the support needed for ourselves in the whole health, self-care space. And as you're an expert in the pelvic health with women, I'd love if you could talk a bit more about that, like that connection and the focus that you have on pelvic health.
Yeah, I would love to. So, we were just touching on the importance of my belief, and I know we share, this resonates with you as well. That's why you have this whole health series, right? Is to help people tap into their whole self, mind, and body. And as we tap into what we need, I think that living in the world that we live in particular today, there's a lot of fear out there. And, for me, I tend to look at things as either fear-based or love-based, and a continuum in between. But when we have fear, we live in a world where the message out there in media and things like that recreate this, our body internalizes what's going on. And there's a wisdom in there which we can learn to tap into and feel that and release it. But what I find interesting, and maybe this is also one of the reasons why things, I know there are many people out there who are needing pelvic health services, is the pelvis is an area, if you pull into the chakra-based system, that philosophy and that belief system that we have, the basic 7 energy centers of our body, the root chakra, our pelvic floor, the base of our trunk, is an area that represents stability and safety. And so many women and men and people of all genders, so many women have many issues here. And when we're not aware of the experiences in our life or the emotions and things that we have, this is an area that we often hold that fear. And so what I find is when I teach people to, just try to be a little more present. Maybe we have an intention of being mindful when we walk into a room or a new situation. It could be a work situation. It could be an interaction with a family member. It could be watching the news. It could be whatever. If we just pause and pay attention to what's going on in our pelvis, in our body in general, but if we tend to have pain, urgency, frequency of the bladder, constipation, painful intercourse, things like that in particular, we might become aware how our bodies respond when our minds may not even be conscious of it. So if we could just begin to pause and, or maybe we meditate, maybe we do some different practices that help the mind-body connection, I think we'll begin to see that there are certain things that might be feeding into that safety and stability and security, things that might be occurring. And when we have a pause in life, we can begin to listen to our inner wisdom to recognize, oh, maybe this isn't in my highest. For example, for me, watching the news is not in my highest. I feel, fluttering, anxiety in my chest. I feel my stomach and my pelvic floor tighten up when I watch the news. I was jogging last summer on a treadmill, and a commercial, was watching like a TV show, and a commercial came on for like when the pandemic first came out. And this was the time where things were really calm, relatively, with the pandemic. And I just didn't feel like changing what was happening on the TV. And that little trailer for the news, I became really, it was talking about how scary everything was. And it's truth, we want knowledge, but I just was aware that my whole body tensed up, that I felt complete anxiety just by watching a 30-second blip on the TV. It wasn't even the news itself. So sometimes it's just little things like that. If we could just take a pause and notice what's happening, we could really begin to help us understand this might put me in, say, like a fight or flight state, which then I can't think straight. So maybe I just don't do that right now, or maybe there's a different way. And then we can navigate the world, from a place of safety and calmness.
That self-awareness, that is so key. And to really be able to tap into that inner wisdom takes practice. And so as you help through your coaching, as I was saying, to incorporate these practices into people's daily lives, it becomes their way, right? Then that helps to thus be able to release. And then you can make that connection because of your scientific background and training, knowledge of the body systems, to support in various different ways that releasing, to bring into that self the greater experience of stability. And don't we all crave that sometimes these days, when there's just change and change upon change? And so as people are considering this and listening to our conversation, to reach out to you and explore ways that you could provide support from the various different hats and expertise that you have. If you could share how people can connect with you and thus reach your work and follow your work, that would be great.
Thank you. Well, for my physical therapy business, my website is www.itrphysicaltherapy.com. And my email is jen.chu@itrphysicaltherapy.com. And so we're on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram is ITR_physical therapy. And Facebook, I think, is just ITR Physical Therapy. And for the second business, the website is holistic with a W, holisticpelvichealth.com. And our Instagram is holistic_pelvic_health, and holistic pelvic health specialist for Facebook. But if anyone ever wants to email me, they can just email me at jen.chu@itrphysicaltherapy.com. I will say on the Holistic Pelvic Health website, on many pages, I have a link where you can download a free, healing meditation, where you can spend 15-20 minutes just listening to me guide you through a healing meditation of the whole body. It taps into the pelvis, but anybody can benefit from this healing meditation. And I hope that, if you can, anyone wants to drop in and download it, enjoy it. It's free.
Thank you so much for that offer. And I will include all of the ways that people can find you through the show notes. So thank you so much, Jen, for sharing and giving us such great, tidbits of wisdom to consider and to think about and to roll around for our health holistically, looking forward into the days ahead. And so thank you so much for sharing here.
Thank you for having me, Whitney. It's been an honor.